Hello, friends. I am the man with no identity, the man formerly known as John Henderson.
Welcome to the Theater of Thrills!
What has two sets of hands, two sets of eyes, and a dual nature, one good and one evil? That's right, the hideous monster sitting beside you right now. But don't worry, he just wants to find out what happens in the next chapter of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now present George Edwards in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Mind you, I'd have knowed naught of all this I'm telling you if it hadn't have been for Billy Pedlar, who was coming home from market and heard the goings on. He got off his horse and went to take a peep through the window, and he seen Hyde fair tear the ring from off her hand.
I was wondering how you knew so much.
There bain't much as Mrs. Me, sir, I can tell you that.
So it seems.
Speaking of finger rings, that be a right queer one you're wearing now, if you'll excuse me for remarking on it.
Yes, yes, it is rather unusual. It belonged to my father.
Oh, did it now? I had a thought run through my head when I seen it, but I must have been mistaken.
Why, what did you think?
Well, Billy Pedlar told me about the ring that I'd took off the Widow Cole's hand. He'd seen her wearing it afore, you know, and I'd have sworn it were the same as you be wearing now.
Yes, you're quite right. Hyde did wear it. I'd lent it to him for a while.
Oh, and he were a friend of yours?
Well, not exactly a friend, but I had a good deal to do with him. In a way, I was responsible for him. That's why I've come down here now to try and see what can be done to make up for what he did.
It'll take more than the power of mortal man to undo what Hyde did.
Oh, but I can do something, surely. Thurza's still alive, and young Sam...
Aye, they be living, but there's a sight of bitterness and suffering that can't be wiped away. Maybe you don't know the full story.
Then tell me. I know Hyde's side of it, but I'd like to hear another.
Well, as I was saying, after Hyde had forced her to her knees afore him and made her beg his pardon, poor young Thurza run out of the house and down the road like one demented. She was smarting from the blows her ma had fetched her. And then there were the times she took the knife to Hyde. Well, she were sobbing and crying to herself as she run out of the place and didn't seem to rightly know what she were at. Billy Pedlar called to her, but she never heeded him nor stopped until she came to young Sam's place and banged on the door.
Sam, let me in.
Thurza, Lord of mercy, lass, what become of you?
Oh, Sam.
Oh, hush now, calm yourself and tell us what it's all about. Here, let me dry your eyes. Lord save us, what's this on your face? Did someone strike you?
Mother, she beat me, Sam, something cruel.
And why?
Because I took to her about the way she's going on. I couldn't stand it any longer, Sam, and that's the truth. It's very ashamed I be.
And she struck you?
With a pot stick. I be black and blue.
Oh, I can see your face, poor lass. Come, let me bathe that cut above your eye and fetch you something to drink.
No, I couldn't touch a thing.
Oh, just to drink a milk or maybe some tea. 'Twill help to calm you. Come now, that's a good lass. Hezra and Father be sitting in the kitchen. We'll go into them and tell them what it is that's happened to you.
No. I shouldn't have come. I should have hid my shame. What'll your father say when he hears about it?
Don't you take no notice of him. He's an old man with a bitter tongue. It's me you've got to take heed of, and I'll say you did right to come here. Where else should you go?
I hadn't nowhere else. Since Mother's took to carrying on so brazen, there ain't hardly no one as'll speak to me.
Oh, we'll change all that. You and me'll be wed. And I'd like to see the man or woman that scorned my wife. Come along now, don't be afeard. We'll tell the old man, and I'll not stand for any of his goings-on where you're concerned.
Oh.
What's the matter, lass?
My wrist. You took my wrist.
Has your wrist been hurt, too? Let me look at it. Oh. How come you by this? Where'd you get these bruises and these finger marks?
Oh, Sammy, it were him. He all but broke it.
Him? Do you mean Hyde?
Fair mad I were. I can't tell you about it, but I tried to kill him, Sam. I tried to drive a knife into him. I hated him that much.
Lord have mercy. And he did this to you?
He grabbed me by the wrist and made me drop the knife. And then he forced me down on my knees and made me beg his pardon and thank him for his kindness to Mother.
By crikey, I'll choke the cur for this.
Who's there, Sam?
It be Thurza, Father. She's in trouble.
Bring her here, then.
Come along, lass. Dry your tears. Hester'll take care of you. And I'll be off to deal with Hyde.
Oh, look out for him, Sam. He'd do anything.
He'll not do what he's done to you and get clear of it. Come, here's the kitchen. Go ye in and bide with Hester.
Why, sir, that is a long time since you last come here. Saints alive, what's happened to you?
Fetch some water and a piece of clean rag, Hester. Thurza's in no state to be worried. It's help she needs.
What's the meaning of it? How did she come by the bruises and neck cuts on her cheek?
She had trouble with her mother.
Her mother, eh? Why did she come here?
Well, where else should she go?
Well, stick in her own place. Not go dragging decent folks into the shame and disgrace they're not responsible for.
Father, shame on you to speak to Thurza so.
It's all right. I shouldn't have came. I'm sorry. I'll go.
Thurza, you stop where you are.
No, Sam, I'll go.
Not while I'm here. You won't.
Another well and a pass.
Would you let her go back to that house? Would you see what's been done to her?
What's that got to do with me?
It's got a lot to do with me. Thurza's my lass, and I'll not stand by and see her treated ill. Not by you nor anybody else.
Then it's the worse for you. Because I'll not have one of her kind in my house so long as I'm master of it.
One of her kind? What do you mean?
It's a new bird that'll come out of that nest. Her father was a waster and a drunkard. And her mother? Ha! Well, let's say no more of her.
Oh, stop it, stop. I never should have come here. And I'll go.
You go after her, Sam, and fetch her back.
If he does, I'll slam the door in both their faces.
I'll take a chance on that. I'm going for Thurza.
Father, ben't you ashamed of yourself? Speaking to the poor lass like that and her in such a pass.
But who brought her to it?
Is it her fault? Was she ever off with a decent, right-living, respectable girl, no matter what her mother might have done?
There's bad blood in that brood now, and none of it in mine.
You've never wanted Sam to marry her, and this suits you fine.
It proves what I say. There's bad blood, and it'll show even though you wait till you're 40, like the widow Cole.
And if Hezra ever comes to any wrong, it'll be you who helped to drive her there.
Well, what's that you say?
She's in mortal trouble, and you've driven her out, and you call yourself a Christian.
You shut your mouth, girl. I'll have no child of mine talk to me that way.
And I'll not stand by and see a poor lass driven out when she's so sore in need of help. You can get your own supper. I'm going off to help Sam find her and to bring her back.
And that was the beginning of the old man's sickness. When they come back, they found him lying on the floor of his kitchen. And it were days afore he spoke, and he hasn't never set foot to the ground from that day to this. Oh, it were a black time all round that night, and all of it on account of that devil Hyde.
Tell me.
Didn't you say as Esther were coming down to see you sometime this evening?
Yes. She promised she would when I was out at their place today.
Well, she be coming now. Get her to tell you what happened that night out on the moors. She and Sam were there. She can tell you firsthand, which is more than I can do.
I wonder, will she?
Ask her. No, I'll go out of here and leave the two of you alone. It'll be easier for her that way. Well, good night to you, and thank you kindly for the baccy and the ale.
Thank you for telling me so much. I'm very indebted to you.
To me? For gossiping? I must tell me daughter that. I doubt if she'll believe it, though. Good night, sir.
Good night, Jeremy. Good night. I want you to believe that I'd do anything in my power to set the rights, the wrongs you and your brother and Hezra have suffered at the hands of Hyde. The blackest day in my whole life was when I first set eyes on his hideous form and face.
Did you ever see the like of it? It fair made my blood run cold. Oh, how could Hezra's mother... Oh, well, that's all past and gone now. She's dead this 3 years past, and all her follies wear.
Dead?
Aye. She caught a chill that wild night we were searching on the moors for Hezra. Soaked to the bone she were, and naught we could do would make her come inside to cease the search. She were ill a long time after that, and never rightly got over it.
And where was Hezra found?
At the bottom of one of the old tin workings. She'd been there 2 days before Sam caught a glimpse of her.
But how did she get there?
The night were awful wild. I guess she didn't rightly know what she were about and stumbled as she ran along. She tried to save herself, poor lass, and hung on to a bit of a bush as she slipped down the side. That's how Sam got track of her. He seed it where it had pulled out by the roots, and he climbed down to look.
But she wasn't killed.
Not killed, but mortal hurt. Her back it were. She's lay like a log ever since.
And Sam went off to South Africa.
He never forgave his father for driving her out that night, and never a word has he spoken to him since. It's all but broke poor father's heart. He be a hard man, but Sam were his only son and the light of his eyes.
Well, there's something I can do. I can bring Sam back from South Africa and give your father back his son.
Aye, but what about poor Hezra?
I'm a doctor, a surgeon. I've done many things to help people who've been crippled. I can't say till I've seen her, but it may be possible.
To make her well again?
Don't hope for too much, but perhaps I can do something.
I'd go down on my knees and give thanks every day of my life if you could do something for Sam. It were that drove him off to South Africa as much as anything. He was set on marrying her, cripple or no cripple. And when she wouldn't hear of it, he couldn't stick the place no more.
Very well, then. That is my task.
They do say it were her spine that got hurt. It were a terrible fall she had, right down to the bottom of the old tin working.
Have any really good doctors seen her?
Just the best we had in Bodmin.
Bodmin's a very pretty little town, but I don't suppose it boasts anything very outstanding in the way of a bone specialist.
Oh, no. There ben't no one there at all as you could rightly call a specialist. Just Dr. Lethbridge. And him not so young neither.
Then that gives me fresh hope. I have a friend in London who's performed miracles on people who've been thought to be crippled for life. When do you think I could see her?
Well, she be living with her aunt about 9 miles from here. Maybe you could hire a landlord's horse and trap and drive across.
Will you come with me?
Nay, I couldn't be leaving Father for so long. He's asleep now, or I'd never have got away as it is.
But do you think she'd talk to me and let me examine her if she hadn't you to tell her I was a friend?
Why, for sure. She's only got to look at your face for one thing.
Is it a face that you would trust, Hester?
It's a face the like of which I've never seen afore. Like a picture I once seen somewhere when I were a little child. So kind, so sad, so beautiful.
Thank you, Hester, my dear. Thank you.
You can't possibly know what it means to hear that from you.
Why from me?
You have known Hyde.
Hyde? What has he got to do with ye? Don't speak of him. Just let me forget.
Very well, then. I'll not mention him again. And now, if you'd like to go back to your father, I'll walk along the road with you.
That be right kind of you, but there bain't any need. It's bright moonlight, and I hain't far to go.
But I feel the need of a little walk. It's rather stuffy in this little room with such a big fire. Let's, if you don't mind my coming with you.
Of course I don't. I'd be glad of your company.
Let's go, then. I'll just put on this coat and scarf. By the way, I think I'd rather you didn't say anything to the people in the village about my trying to get Hezra cured and Sam brought back from South Africa.
You can rely on me. I'll keep mum and no mistake.
Good. Shall we go, then? Hezra, I want you to trust me. I've come all the way from London to try and help you, but without your assistance, I can't do anything.
Why should you be troubling yourself about me, Dr. Jekyll?
Well, that's a question I can't answer. But does it really matter? I've heard your story. In a curious way, I'm compelled to hold myself responsible for things that Hyde did. I want to try and put them right. Isn't that enough?
Responsible for Hyde? Then I pity you. You've a load of guilt laid on your soul.
That'll weigh it to the ground. Yes, I know. Someone once said those words to me a long time ago. No one but myself knows how true they are.
I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt you. Please don't look that way. You make me feel fair ashamed of myself. So kind you are, and me talking to you like that.
Then you'll let me do what I can for you.
If I've been ungrateful, it's because I daren't let myself have hope. You can't dream what it's like to lie here year after year with nothing to hope for but dying.
Now, that's all past. I feel sure that something can be done for you. If you'll let me look at your back and see where the injury was. How did it happen? Did you lose your way and stumble into the old mine?
No, I did not lose my way. I knew where I were right enough.
Then what happened? Do you remember very much?
Why shouldn't I? Is it like that I'd forget?
No. No, I suppose not. But I was just interested to know if the fall had caused you to forget any of the things that happened just before the accident. It sometimes does, you know.
I remember everything. At night when I lie here in the dark, I can even see his face and hear his voice.
You mean Hyde's?
You didn't suspect that he were there, did you? I told no one. What were the use? He'd gone. No one had seen Hyde nor hear of him after that night. And Sam, poor lad, he were nigh out of his mind, as it were.
He blamed Hyde for what had happened?
And wasn't it because of him? If he'd never set foot in Marston Bridge, me and Sam would have been wed this 3 year past. And poor mother, oh, well, let her rest in peace.
And you've kept this secret all this time?
Aye.
But you shouldn't. It's bad for you. You say you see his face and hear his voice when you lie here in the dark.
Aye, clear as can be it is. I can hear the wind blowing and feel the bit of rain in my face, and I'm stumbling across the moors, not heeding where I'm going, half mad with hurt and sorrow. How long I wandered there, I've no way of knowing. They told me afterwards that they were searching for me with lanterns, but I never seen them. And all at once, as I came along the little path near the top of the mine shaft, I seen someone standing afore me. Fair give me a turn, it did. Who be you?
Is it Hezra? Well, well. What are you doing out here alone?
Hyde. What be you doing here?
I'm on my way to the nearest railway station. I've a kind of idea I'm not very welcome at Marston Bridge much longer.
Welcome? You were never welcome. You were hated from the first moment you set foot on the place.
You're thinking of Sam's dog?
That and all the other things you did. You'll be hated round this place so long as any of us remains alive to remember you.
Come, is it so bad as that? Won't your mother think a little kindly of me sometime?
How can you mock at her like that? Haven't you done enough without laughing at our shame?
My dear child, you take these things too hard. That's what comes of living in a little place like Marston Bridge. If you were in London, for instance...
But I'm not. I'm in Marston Bridge. And I've got to live there the rest of my life and suffer the punishment that you've brought on us.
What punishment will you have to suffer?
I were turned out at Sam's house this very night.
You were? That's splendid. I never hoped for anything so good as that.
Good? Is that what you call good? Broken hearts and broken lives. Have you no pity, no mercy at all in that heart of yours?
Pity and mercy, not a grain of it. Don't you know what I am? I'm evil, pure evil. Never before in the entire history of man has there ever been another creature like myself. Hell itself has nothing to rival me.
You're mad. I can tell it. It's too dark to see your face, but I can guess the way it looks.
It's not a pleasant face, is it? No one likes my face. I love to see the way they shudder and turn sick. How would you like to have it close to yours, my dear? How would you like to feel my cheek against yours?
Don't stop it. Get away from me. Oh, let me pass.
Not till you've given me a kiss. Do you think it was your mother I really wanted? No, it was you.
You beast, you fiend. Let go of me. I'd die before I...
Oh, no, you wouldn't. Life is very sweet, my child, and what's a kiss? Soon over, and you'll find it's not so bad. Come now, be sensible.
Never. If you knew the way I hate you.
Then I'll take it for myself. I'd have let you off lightly if you'd been civil. Now you'll pay dearly for the things you've said.
No, I will not. No, you won't.
You little vixen, sink your teeth into me, would you? Oh, so you got away. Look out. Where are you going? Mind the edge of the cutting. Mind. Gone. She's gone. Little fool. Sam Trelawney's dog. That brute hates me. I'd better go, or he'll be on my tracks. Let's see. What way? There's a glimpse of the moon. I'll have to keep it on my right, and then I'll strike the road. Where's my stick and bag? There they are. That's good. That's very good. The ground is stony here. No one will see my footsteps. They'll never know that anyone was here besides the girl. That's good. That's good. Show your lantern here, Ted. Badger's onto something here. He'd never bark that way for nothing.
Where are we?
By the edge of the old tin working.
Lord of mercy, don't say...
Look, what's up? See, that little bush there, almost torn out by the roots.
I will see it.
Mightn't someone have grabbed it? Oh, look, there's a piece of something flapping in the wind. It's a bit of cloth. Her dress, she's here. Oh, she's fallen down the shaft.
Here, wait a minute, Sam. You're never going down there like that.
She's down there. Thursday's down there. You must have ropes, man, and more like. It's suicide to go without. Do you think that I can stop here and her down there?
Hold him. Don't let him go.
Down
No,
there.
steady, lad. Us knows the way you feel, but there'd be no use in two of you going down head first into yon shaft.
Oh, she might be dead. There's water down there. Oh, wait a minute. Thursday, can you hear me? Thursday, It's she. She's answered. We're coming, lass. We're coming down for you. You go for ropes. You go for ropes, Ted and Billy. I'll wait here. I'll stop here and call from time to time. It'll give her heart to wait. And hurry, hurry! Keep your courage, lass. As soon as we have ropes and lanterns, we'll get you up. It won't be long. I promise you it won't be long.
In my heart. And by I see them coming down the cutting. When they got to me and started to carry me up to the top, I don't remember anymore.
The pain must have been terrible.
It were worse nor anything I ever dreamed a body could endure.
There might be more pain for you, Hezra, before you get well again.
I'd let you tear me limb from limb if I could walk again and be like other folks.
Then there is something I've got to do. You shall walk through Marston Bridge and back to your own home, and then perhaps you'll not lie in the dark anymore and see the face of Edward Hyde.